Welcome back to No Fall Weddings, Week 6 edition, part of the Co-Working It universe. Do me a favor and hit that like, comment, subscribe to all our stuff, and post a comment or two. I'm going to start with video evidence of my prediction from last week. There are no ranked versus ranked teams next week. So, maybe skip next week's podcast because there's no good games. No. In college football land, that means there'll be 4 or 5 major upsets. I love it. So checking all the scores to see if anything happened that might be chaos worthy. And wait, what? Down goes Bama. The freaking nerds of the SEC take down the mighty Crimson Tide. Check that. The number 1 and formerly number 1 Crimson Tide. $100,000 penalty for storming the field. That. Bring down the goalposts. Some of the stats for Vandy are absolutely fascinating. They ran the ball 54 times, which led to 42 minutes of possession. Diego Pavia, America's sweetheart, goes 16 for 20 for 252 yards and 2 touchdowns, throwing a timely pick 6, and it all equals to 40 points put on that Bama team by Vanderbilt. I could see Nick Saban just wanting to get on his private jet, fly down to Tuscaloosa, and just rip those kids and coaches apart in the locker room. That's not the Bama he left behind. Now, even though they were number 1, there was no talk about them being a dominant team or, with a great defense or even like a high-powered offense with all the receivers they used to have. But still, number 1, and you lose to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt. But shout out to Vandy's head coach and offensive coordinator, because Bama cut it to 5 with 2 minutes and 46 seconds left, and they had all 3 timeouts left. Most teams going for this historic upset really like to pucker up and just try to run the ball 3 times right up the middle. You make them use their timeouts, and it ends up biting them because the other team's just more talented. They come back and win, but not Vandy. After losing 2 yards on one of those first down runs, they call a play action pass, get Pavia out of the pocket, and he throws a perfect pass on the run that gets him a first down. Game's still not over, but that was a huge moment because it just showed that they were going for it. They weren't going to try to let Bama give them the game. They were taking it. So boom, next play, first down run. And by this time, I think Bama knew even if we get the ball back, it's going to be 20 seconds left. It was over. So what happened? Vanderbilt got to be in victory formation, the best formation in football. When you look at how Bama usually loses in regular season games, it's always on a last second field goal. Look it up. Or even just a last second play like LSU had a couple years ago. Not many teams get to take a kneel down against Bama. And again, Vanderbilt of all teams gets to do it. And all of America rejoices. It's not the same without Nick Saban there, but there's still remnants left enough of the hate. So Alabama may have been the headline of the day, but there were a lot of lead-up acts to it. Number 11, number 10, number 9, number 4, all lose to unranked teams. Let's start with USC and how they continue to be an unwelcome guest in the Big Ten. First, they get ran over by Michigan. Then last night, they get into a fist fight with Minnesota. Lincoln Riley and all his offensive genius just is not translating to the Midwest yet. Speaking of Michigan, anyone else starting to feel the earth slowly starting to rotate on its axis properly again? That's because your defending national champions have 2 losses for the middle of October. In the national championship rematch, they only had about 4 returning players from last year. Washington comes out on top 27-17. Michigan has resorted to playing their 3rd string 14th year senior quarterback, and he provided a spark for about 15 minutes. It's unbelievable how bare Jim Harbaugh left that quarterback room. It doesn't make up for losing the championship, Washington, but man, your fans sure seem to enjoy last night a little extra. Hey, Michigan fans, 55 days from your reckoning. I told you last week, Missouri, get out of my top 10. Couldn't have been more right. They finally play a team with a soul in Texas A&M. Not a good soul, but a decent one. And they get their ass kicked 41-10. They better not even be near my college football playoff. Again, a little more bull SEC bias. Speaking of more SEC, so much for that high-powered Josh Heupel offense. barely 300 total yards, 0 points in the first half. Give credit to Arkansas. They played their asses off on defense and did just enough on offense, despite their quarterback going out with an injury. But yet again, Tennessee, once everybody thinks, oh, they're back, they're a national title contender, they lay an egg. And good for Arkansas. I saw a list of potential upsets that they've almost had the last couple of years. Good for them. Good for the fans. Hope they enjoyed it last night. The first chaos Saturday of the college football season did not disappoint, but I got a feeling that's not going to be the only one. All right, let's go to the play of the day. And for that, let's go back to the Alabama-Vanderbilt game. Vandy got up 23-7 early. Bama started fighting back and cut the lead to 23-21, and everyone can see the wheels turning. Okay, Bama's figured this out. They'll take the lead. They'll take care of business. But on 4th and 1, Diego Pavia did this.
Not out of the shotgun. They're 2 of 3 on 4th down this year. Pavia wants to throw. He goes down the middle. It is caught. Touchdown.
It wasn't the play to put them in the lead for good, but it was the play that gave them the belief that they could go toe-to-toe for the rest of the game with Bama. A couple quick hits around the country. Ohio State and Georgia started off slow, but avoided the upset weekend. Florida State is now 1-5. This is just going to be a weekly update that we can just all laugh at them. And again, they should be 0-6. The opposite, Indiana, 6-0. Severely underranked. Could very well be 11-0 by the time they go to Columbus in late November. Look out for them. Notre Dame playing the perfect bye week because they absolutely would have been part of the chaos weekend, knowing them. How did I wake up to Cal blowing a 25-point lead against the U? How? Oh, it just would have made it even better. I blame myself for going to bed at midnight. My fault, everybody. Let's look at the Heisman top 3. Number 3, Travis Hunter. He was on a bye, but he stays in there. Number 2, Cam Ward finally slips down a little bit. I had to knock him for creating these Heisman moments. He had one last week against Virginia Tech. Not a very good team. You have the 25-point comeback against Cal. It was a decent team, but unranked. But at some point, it would be nice if you just kind of played well early in the game and blow out some of these unranked teams instead of having to be the miracle man at the end. But I'm not dropping him too far because I still think he's a great player. But number 1, it's time to give proper recognition to Ashton Gentry and the running back position in general. The dude has 1,000 rushing yards on less than 100 carries. That is absurd. Oh, and 16 touchdowns to go with it. All right, let's do a preview of next week's slate. If you have a wedding, skip it. If you have a funeral, ignore it. If you yourself are dying, delay it. Because look what we got coming up next weekend. Starting at 3:30, we got the Red River rivalry. Oklahoma versus number 1 Texas. How you feeling, Woso? At the same time, undefeated Penn State is going out to USC, coming off a loss. Should be interesting. James Franklin really knows how to lose these games. At 7:30, we got a sneaky good SEC game. Ole Miss at LSU. 2 teams with 1 loss. So you get a second one, it's going to really hurt your chances in the CFP. So big time game down in Baton Rouge. But the only game that matters, also at 7:30, game of the year in the Big Ten, at least so far. Ohio State travels to Oregon for a top 5 clash. Now, I've been pretty quiet as an Ohio State fan this year because they have looked great. They have all the talent, but they haven't played anybody of significance yet. Now's the moment. If they want to be considered a national title contender and or just the best team in football, they go duck hunting next weekend. Thanks for listening to No Fall Weddings, part of the Co-Working It universe. Again, really appreciate that subscribe button. Hit the like. Give me a comment. We can have a little discussion. Or tell me I suck. All good. Bring it on. We'll see y'all next week. OH!